Welcome back to the Caregiver Minute, where every weekday family and professional caregivers gather to refine their skills, gain inspiration, and prepare to serve. I recently drove over the Boise River, looked out, and noticed how high the river was. Now, it's typical that rivers run higher in the springtime as all of the snow melt is feeding into the headwaters. But this year it was particularly high because we had so much snowfall in the last year. There are a lot of rivers all over the United States and in other areas that are particularly swollen right now because there's been record snowfall in a lot of areas. When we see a river and we see what we would call high flows, we understand that there's something going on at the headwaters causing that high flow. But what about in our lives? What about in the workplace? You've heard about getting into a state of flow, and you might talk about work as if it's flowing really effectively when things are going smoothly. But do we stop to think about what creates that high flow state? After all, at the headwaters of these major rivers, things didn't just magically happen overnight to produce high levels of water. It was one snowstorm after another that added up over time to create, in a lot of cases, record snowfall that creates record flows. Having a high flow state depends on making regular deposits in the snowbank so that when the heat of spring and summer come, all of that effort melts down into a high flow state. Otherwise, the earth just gets scorched. There's no water if we don't make deposits when we have an opportunity to do so. And when the heat of the day comes, we end up with the short end of the stick and we can't even water the lawn, so to speak. So what are you doing to make deposits at the headwaters of your life and in your work? If you're working as a caregiver out on the front lines and you want things to look effortless and to flow smoothly and to seem like they just naturally happen that way, it takes a lot of energy and effort to make regular deposits in what you're learning, what you're trying, what you're observing, so that eventually, over time, things just flow very naturally. Are you getting adequate rest and recovery? Are you hydrating well? Are you learning things on a consistent basis? Are you trying and then measuring your success and then trying again and constantly striving to be just a little bit better? All of those things constitute deposits in the snowbank, and when the heat of the day comes, you'll have high flow states. I hope you'll take some time today to consider what you could do to prepare a little more, to make a few more regular and consistent deposits in the snowbank of life, so that when the heat of the moment comes, all of that melts down into a high flow state that you can feel really good about. I hope that's helpful to you and to the people that you serve, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for another episode of the Caregiver Minute.